development branch and finish with a PR to the main branch. So that's not existent. That's like one issue that we have.
Okay.
It asks for also, we want to see it like at least 12 meaningful commits. I only see 7, so we're a little short on that. When we look at the source code here, so like, let's take a look here. There are some things that should be done differently as part of the notes. So like the Swagger setup should be in its own file. A config directory within that should be the swagger.ts. And the server here should not be set up in the app.ts. These are all in the notes for module 1 for how I would expect this stuff to be set up.
Okay.
Okay, so there was some code set here, which is good. Okay. So some things are missing, like in TypeScript. What we want to see are the type annotations. So they exist here for this function. Its parameters, it has an initial investment colon number. This is a type annotation, right?
Yes.
But we also want to see them for our variables in our code. So the profit or loss, percentage change, performance summary, those all need to have those as well.
Okay.
Your functions, I want to see you use TS docs for those. So this thing out of the way here. That would be here, TS docs. You'll want to use that to comment on all of your functions.
Okay, thank you.
What were some of the other things I had mentioned here? Okay. So looks like we have some of these functions added here, which is good. But we don't have tests. That's the problem. We haven't tested any of these functions in Portfolio, which is what we want to see. We want to see these tested.
I have
this test.
I have like 4 tests. I make like 4 tests.
Only see tests here. Is there somewhere else where your test would be located? Down here. Oh, they're in multiple spots.
Yes.
I see. It's kind of disjointed the organization here. Okay.
Okay, I should make all my tests inside the text, right?
All the tests should exist in a test directory right here. It looks like you have some that are within the source directory. Source should only ever be code that runs your application, and test will be only the tests that test your application. So these two should always be very separate.
Okay.
Okay, so we do have more tests than I would have seen there. So that's good. Let's fix these then. We do have test coverage. That looks good. Branch setup and management is not where it needs to be, though. Okay. That's where I want to see the development branch. That's where I want to see the pull request. And I needed to see you added the requested GitHub workflow from the instructions, which it asks you to do in the assignment details here, where it says continuous integration with GitHub Actions. Automate testing and linting for your project. So the linting was provided, but the testing was not. For error handling, let's see what we have in here. Oops. I'm not sure what's going on in this folder here with the index, where you set the router up in an index and then pass that to here. We have another router defined in here. This file seems to be lost. I'm not sure where its use cases for. Okay. Anyway, let's go back in the portfolio. So we are doing a null check here. Not necessarily checking it here. Okay. We could probably better manage if there are no assets in here, potentially. Because we don't really make it clear what happens there. Yeah, which would be a good use case for a test to get better coverage for what would happen if we didn't have any assets in the test.
Okay.
Okay. So we do have tests. I'd like to see that other coverage. You do have a lot of tests, so I'll be lenient on that one. The server works, but there are some unfortunate weird structure changes. Like we have this weird index here that we don't need. You have this test inside of the source, which we definitely don't want to see. And then we don't have our Swagger configuration in its own separate config directory, like is outlined in the notes for module 1. And then we're missing our type annotations, which is like what would break the code standards and quality. That's what we want to see there. Okay. This looks like it was, well, according to the commit history, this was started on the day it was due. There is a criteria for every assignment.
Yes, I'll be doing it, and I have issue with my repository, so I have to delete that one and create another one again.
That's why this one started on the 19th.
No, I've been working on the assignments since, but I tried to upload on the repo I first created, and I don't know what's happened to the repo, so I have to create another one.
Okay.
And start from the beginning.
I can boost the engagement a bit for that one. And let's see what we have here for debugging. What's going on in this? Okay, we have one screenshot. Oh, okay. So this isn't necessarily the debugger. This is just running the endpoint. It's not debugging. It's kind of like manual testing, which is a little different. What I want to see. Let's go to see the debugger used. I added into Learn a guide on how to use a debugger. And so what I'll say, and this is what I would say to everybody, if you go through and follow the guide for debugging,
yes.
So that's under the, let's go to the table of contents here, course resources, guides, debugging guide. Follow this guide. Okay. And do your best to complete the debugging steps by Friday this week.
Okay.
Commit those into your branch right here, this development branch, or main branch, I guess is what you have. And I can grade the debugging part as your code review, which will boost your grade up. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
So I'm just going to publish it as is right now. But if you send me that by Friday, I'll update your grade. Okay.
Okay. Thanks so much.
Yeah, no worries. I'm going to jump to the next code review, but if you have any issues with the debugger, just send me a message on Teams and I can see if I can give you a hand, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
And
will.
And please, I would like to add some more time for the assignment too. Maybe by next week, Monday or Tuesday, please.
The only thing I'll update for the assignment one is the debugger component.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
All right. Thank you. I'll talk to you next time.
Thank you.